He had kind of three questions. It looks like he was inquiring about a 10-meter diameter dome at 4 frequencies, guttering for water runoff, and best way to anchor it to the ground, or kind of his three questions from Sean.
We've changed sizes and frequencies for several people that just want to do something. We're going to look at a 4-frequency dome, and I won't go into the long discussion of frequency. It's the number of triangles that are dividing up your dome. So the geometry changes. So if he wants to do a 10-meter dome, which is a 32, 33-foot diameter dome, and do a 4-frequency, the panels are going to be much smaller because he's going to have to do that, and that means he's doing maybe a mid-profile dome, which is the equator of the dome. He's got 250 triangles to divide up that geometry. Instead of what we use would be 160 triangles in the same dome size. So you can see the triangles have to get much smaller if you got 250 compared to 160. So it can be done. It's going to raise the cost on the connectors, the metal bracketing system that we use, because you've got a lot more parts and pieces. But if you want that for whatever reason, we've done it. We have limits on our geometry. So we have a certain geometry there for 20 to 29-foot diameter domes, 30 to 40-foot diameter domes we switch, and then 42 to 51-foot diameter domes we switch to the 4-frequency, and then at 56 or 54 to 60-foot diameter we're on 5-frequency. And we'll do a 6-frequency dome, which brings us up to about 74 feet. In all those domes, the longest edge length is going to be about 8 feet. There's 2 of them that go to 9 feet, but that's about it. The rest of them, the longest edge length is 8 feet. Guttering on a dome, we've got it on our dome here, custom made. We made our own gutters. I don't have a good photo of it, but it fits into and kind of hidden along the bottom edge of the triangles. So the rain runoff is coming down the shingles, down the side of your dome, and falls into that gutter. Our other complex that we have, we put gutters on that because we were seeing erosion, we're stopping erosion control, erosion down the hillside that goes to the creek that we have. So we use gutters. They certainly are going to help you keep the water away from your dome. Easy to put on, easy to clean because they're not 12, 15 feet up in the air. They're right at this level of the bottom of the triangles, which sometimes is 3 feet off the ground.
Right. And then his last...
What's the other question?
His last question was about anchoring to the ground, and I thought you had a couple of anchors that you brought in.
Yeah, Carrie, if you want to throw that photo up of the dome sitting up on metal posts, Doug Peterson's dome. Down in Iowa, there it is right there. These are called helical piers, or anchors if you want to call them anchors. And it is a steel tube that goes down in the ground, and helical means that they've got I'll call it a thread, a fin that sticks out on the bottom part of the dome. And they actually twist these units into the ground. We're talking 10, 12. We used them on my daughter's remodeling, and it was soft soil. And those we used 18-foot long piers to get down to good soil. In this case, Mark was in a really mild flood area. And so this is down in Iowa, but it's near a flood area by a river. And he wanted to be up above that entirely. So they came along and plotted out where all these posts go in the corners. And there's one more slide that shows more of the floor system being put on. And built his dome on top of it. This one happened to be a 36-foot diameter dome. So this gets anchored down. Terry, if you want to switch to the others, there's two other slides related to this. One is that, which shows you more of the framing going on. But it's sitting on top of those posts. So there's one more slide that shows how you connect the post to the framing. And that's this anchor. So it's welded to the steel post, and it's then bolted into the floor system. There's another piece going off to the right of this that you don't see, but it's a situation where you want to connect those posts structurally to the floor joist system. So I don't know if Sean is online right now. He's part of the group? He may not be. We have other concerns in anchoring the dome down. It's anchoring the dome down to this floor structure that you see on the screen. So we have hold down brackets. You can turn those photos off and switch me on full screen. This is a hold down bracket. It's a standard piece made by Simpson Strong Tie. It's got screw holes in it. You get the screws that fit into it. There's different versions. Stand back a little bit. So this is an HDU 4. This is an HDU 9, I believe. I should look at the label here. 8 or 9. So if you need something that's much stronger, earthquake zone, we'd use this. In a tornado, hurricane zone, we probably would use this. Depends on the zone that you're in. These go on every corner. They are attached to the foundation with a threaded rod. The threaded rod goes up through here. There's a bracket in here. It fits down over it. And then you put a nut on right here. So this goes down to your foundation. So now you're tying the corner of the dome down to the foundation. Is that foundation one floor down? Is there a lower level on your dome? It may be, but this then might go down to that foundation all the way down. So the threaded rod could be 8 foot high. Where do you need this? Like I said, high wind zones. We're recommending them more in the inland areas from tornadoes and hurricanes along the coast. So this is part of our system when you're in that area. We sell it with this is a package that we put together for you to do this. Normally, you're going to have an anchor bolt that goes into the bottom plate of your riser wall, and it's tied down to the concrete slab if you don't have a basement. You've got a concrete slab. So now you're going to put this anchor bolt in. This is a fancy anchor bolt with a bottom end on it. Simpson makes this one also. So this goes into the concrete, and you put that washer on the top and the nut on it, and you tie this sill plate down to your floor, down to your concrete slab. But if you're using those round cut washers, they're only, inch in diameter. They're really not going to hold much. What's really required, what you've got to have, is an anchor plate. This is called a bearing plate washer. It's 3/16 or 1/4 inch thick steel. They make two different kinds. This fits over as your washer. So now you see you've got a lot more area. These are 3 inch by 3 inch. 75 millimeters by 75 millimeters. You're dealing with something that's strong. They make them this size so that it takes the load and spreads it out over that plate that you've got on the bottom of the dome. So the understanding here is that you need these. You should not be using the little cut washers. You can buy these at Home Depot. Sometimes they don't know what they are because they've never seen them before. But in reality, you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and tell them to look in their catalog, in their list of stuff that they have, and they'll find these. They're used on the West Coast all the time for earthquake zones. But they're beginning to be used more often all around. There's other ways to do this. You can actually put an anchor bolt down. So, and embed this in the concrete and use a two-part epoxy. Variety of things that we have. But believe me, we know how to tie the dome down and how to tie it down for your design in your area for what your wind speed is.
Okay. All right, I got